After mastering our breath and using de-arming techniques to move negative emotions from the cells of our bodies into our etheric and electromagnetic field, we need to transform these emotions and to bring them back into the body. This is the essence of the transformation process and how we create a body that vibrates on bliss and joy. A high vibrational body that creates and grounds into reality a high vibrational world. We prepare the body for Kundalini to rise by creating a body that primarily vibrates on bliss and joy. There is no one set way to transform emotions once in our etheric field. But by fully experiencing emotions, they must transform. When our mind is not too attached to emotions, they transform. Thus, attachment and negativity in our past, blaming, hating, and not forgiving someone, only creates negativity in our future. Creating pleasure in the body through our breath, making sound and touch, helps transform vibrations in our body when part of a holistic practice. Feeling an emotion during an embodiment practice allows communication between our energy centers, which is how transformation happens. It happens outside of our physical body in our etheric field, our aura. The more paradoxes and multiple truths we find between our physical, mental, and emotional bodies, the easier it becomes to find dense layers of energy in our field. A dense layer in our field means the chakra on this level of our aura is strong and communicating. It means our electromagnetic field is strong. A strong aura or electromagnetic field is normally a positive, but as we are learning, good and bad are judgments. So it could also be a negative when we look at it in relation to something else. All we can say for sure is that it is strong. Maintaining a non-dual, non-judgmental belief system during your practice, so not trying to fix things, but with your mind, but observing them changing will massively improve your self-practice. In advanced trainings, we go deeper into these topics, but for now, it's important to know that our energetic body is information, light, and vibration. So once our energetic body is open, so all of our chakras and energy centers are talking with each other, we will feel and sense more. In Kundalini bodywork, we try not to give you too many concepts and rules in how our energetic bodies work, as we come from the premise that your body is your mystery school, and you learn from it while creating it. In the advanced trainings, we give foundational knowledge that supports you to explore your mystery school, your universe, reality, your matrix, your physical and your energetic body. We learn to communicate, to listen and express as our whole self, not just our mind. The more open our energetic body is, the easier it becomes to transform our pain into pleasure, trauma into bliss, or into creativity, self-confidence, power, inspiration, intuition, forgiveness, acceptance, self-love, or whatever our current intention is. Our intention is the emotional vibration, the frequency that we are pulling into our body and into our bones, if you remember that exercise. Thus, the vibration that we put out into the world and the vibration that we attract back. Generally, what we are, 1, being, 2, attracting, and 3, giving to the world, emotionally and vibrationally, are all the same. Thus, changing our vibration can be difficult. Kundalini bodywork is a practice that allows us to change our vibration by working through the different dimensions and levels. We learn to create diversity in our system from the non-dual awareness or knowledge that everything is one and the same, while knowing our role here is to embrace the duality of life in a healthy way. So to access these different levels or dimensions, we often use our chakra system and electromagnetic field, our aura, the feminine pathway, to create communication and to acknowledge diversity. Our aura, etheric field, and electromagnetic field are all pretty much the same thing, with science measuring the electromagnetic field of our heart one way, with magnetocardiography and the layers of light and heat that surround our physical bodies another. From the experiential level, I find approaching them as predominantly the same thing works best when our focus is on emotional transformation. Our chakra system is the visible spectrum of light vibrating at a frequency we cannot see with the naked eye, so it looks very similar to a rainbow, with red at the bottom and a purple kind of turquoise colour at the top, before turning into either a white or golden light, depending on how you are feeling. Random fact, golden light as sunlight is basically an optical illusion through our planet's atmosphere, as the sun, in reality, whatever reality is in fact white, like all the other stars in the sky. So illusion or not, when we look at the sun from the earth, it is golden. So golden light exists because we can see it, which for me starts to trigger questions about our whole existence and what do I define as reality and illusion, given that colour in one sense is all an optical illusion. The layers and colours of our aura are related to our chakra system, so made from this visible spectrum of light. If you think of how sunlight hits a water fountain and how this spectrum of light then appears at certain angles as the water reflects the light, then this is kind of how our aura works. We are vibrating molecules that reflect light or are made of light, given that a molecule is light matter, not dark matter. But however you want to explain quantum physics and the human soul, light hits us and we reflect light, while we also emit light or life because we are light, vibrating molecules of light matter. Beyond us being light matter, one could argue, at least I could argue, that we are divinity. But this is more a personal choice than science. We could also argue about the nuances within this concept, but my experience is most people are happy to accept the human soul is made of light. I personally believe that behind this light we find divinity and the paradoxes that allow light, dark, colour and neutrality to all exist separately while also being the same. What is different is how our emotional mood affects the colours that we reflect. This is because each of our chakra energy centres has a different way of communicating. So our aura and our energetic bodies all reflect light and our emotional mood, while also being light and being our emotional mood. There are endless courses and teachings about the chakra system, from original expressions in Hinduism to more Western approaches where science is used to prove more esoteric teachings. I'd invite you to learn a little, but to keep a level of mystery to your energetic body, and don't kill the paradox that you are, or give your power away in allowing someone else to decide and tell you how your energetic body works. It's yours after all. Embrace your body, aura, chakra system, and electromagnetic field as your own personal mystery school. Let it teach you as art and poetry teaches you. Keeping the mystery of yourself alive will invite more depth into your life, eventually giving you a greater capacity for knowledge and learning. You don't just work two ways, you work many ways in a sea of infinite potentiality. On a practical level, this means taking your trauma out of your physical body and moving it into your energetic body, your aura, and experiencing this through your chakra system. Experiencing survival issues about money and security, power, the desire for power or the desire to surrender power, issues of the heart, of love, romance, trust and connection, and issues of communication and self-expression into issues of a more spiritual nature. When we can allow all three of our main bodies, physical, mental and emotional, the third, fourth and fifth dimensions, to express through all of our chakras in both a masculine way and a feminine way, with polarity and duality, and sometimes our shadow, without letting anyone else define us or tell us exactly what's going on, then we are coming closer to self-mastery of our energetic body. From the perspective of communication, I find working with 5 chakras instead of 7 more beneficial. My root feels like primal power, and it does not communicate as much, but a large source of energy. It still needs to be cared for and to work in relation to all the other energy centers, especially when blocked. But in relation to emotional information, my root and thus the roots of others don't talk so much, to a point. And likewise, my crown, how universal energy comes in and communicates with the other energy centers above my head, is on a different level of awareness. So the subconscious needs to be much more conscious to listen from here. I can only understand other people's chakra system and energetic bodies in a way that I understand my own. So what I tell you here is my truth, not the truth or your truth. But if it works and resonates with you, then feel free to use it until your experience changes, and know your experiences can and do change. As we can only understand someone else's energy to the point that we have understood our own, means that we have to work on our own self-development before working with others. Thus, Kundalini bodywork is a self-development practice. When we develop ourselves with a desire to work with energy in a similar way as I do, it happens fairly effortlessly. Of course, good therapists and good teachers can help. Attending advanced courses can help, but they should never be leading us away from knowing that the answers are within. When thinking of sex, think of the sacral chakra, energy center, the second one, where pranic energy is coiled and stored, thus the base of our Kundalini. Think orange, or think of the sexual organs, yoni for a woman and the lingam for a man. Some people get confused and connect the lingam to the root and the yoni to the sacral, thinking they should be opposing chakras. But the sexual organs of men and women share the same chakra. Both are sex, and Kundalini in the masculine starts in the sacral, not the root. But many people believe for a woman, Kundalini comes down from the heart and then activates her sacral, so Kundalini consciousness can rise back up. Thus, in Tantra, people talk about positive and negative poles in relation to this. In energetic and emotional work, truth to a large degree is dictated by belief, and the beliefs shape the shape of an energetic body. The mind can hate this truth that is making controlling consciousness harder, so fights to make it untrue, fights to dominate the other system through intellect. So by choosing our beliefs in relation to our emotional and energetic work within a holistic framework with embodiment practices, we create the truth of our emotional and energetic world while maintaining the freedom to change it. But this is a kind of off topic. So back to our chakra system, and we definitely need to move and circulate energy and emotions into our root when it's blocked, to both help us understand why it's blocked and to listen and observe it in relation to the rest of our energy centers and whole being to help open it up. As our root is at the bottom, it can only ever block top down, never really bottom up. Thus it has less to say. I find my crown to be more about divinity coming in and less about actual communication. So it's much more non-dual. And again, it can only block top down, never bottom up. So the rest of our chakras on this level, in my experience, if you feel like your crown is blocked, you will probably feel like you are living in hell and very depleted. We also have chakras, energy wheels and vortexes all over our body, and also in the ground and several above our heads. Valuing our experiences over structure is wise, but having a structure and framework for the mind to experience is also essential to do this work well. In the advanced courses, we go much deeper into working with the chakra system, using the tools and concepts of Kundalini bodywork. But for now, simply experiencing ourselves, learning how to experience ourselves, and developing our own experiences and knowledge comes first. The process of allowing trauma, for example, sexual trauma, out of the body to be experienced in our energetic field, from the sacral to the heart and then the throat, is the process of transformation. It's the healing process. For the most part, this happens naturally once we get the dense energy out of our physical body into the etheric, and it can be quite an unconscious process. Ideally, this process happens shortly after traumatic events so that the emotional trauma does not need to become part of our physical bodies. Once the energy gets out of our physical body and into all of our other bodies, and our emotional communication centers, our chakras, can start to communicate with each other. And through this communication, the witnessing and the expression of our traumas, they transform. They transform into a neutral feeling, a lighter feeling, or a pleasurable feeling, or our intention when this is a deliberate practice. One reason we will often shake and practice emotional release before self-de-armoring, energetic work, or self-pleasuring practice is to open up our chakra system so that the communication, thus the self-healing, can take place. The act of screaming before a session, or even shouting motherfucker if you really need to, opens up your throat chakra. Having a tantrum while hitting the floor cracks open your chest, and kicking your legs and stretching your psoas and shaking activates your liver, allowing anger and survival issues to transform. Your chakra system and energy centers might not all be positive as they open. They may be negative or in chaos. But this does not matter. What matters is opening all of your different bodies enough, despite the blocks, to bring you into a state of chaos. So once you start de-armoring, you start allowing the conversation to happen and the chaos in your emotional body to come to a new and higher level of order, a higher level of alignment. We literally evolve through our emotional chaos by learning to work on all of these multiple levels simultaneously and separately at the same time. Once your mind figures out how to hold multiple truths, understanding, and practices simultaneously, this work will become second nature. When you look at Hindu gods and goddesses with multiple hands and multiple heads, in my understanding these are more related to tantric philosophy, we can clearly see that they have mastered doing things simultaneously and separately at the same time. In advanced trainings, we learn more about how to work with energetic bodies, auras, and the chakra system. And this is essential because we are holding space for another. When only holding space for ourselves, we need to trust and observe ourselves, listen to ourselves, and to be mindful that our beliefs are not limiting us. That the constructs of language and logic are not limiting our experience, thus the magnitude of our emotional transformation, which dictates the happiness and success of our lives.